Welcome back, and today we'll be going over the final arc of my Kenyan journey, the market arc. And this arc, it's going to be pretty wild. I fight some boss fights, a save point in there somewhere. It's really fun, so I hope you enjoy as much as I did. So, this whole time, Soren and everybody else have been building up this market, the Maasai market at the end, where you go to this place and it's like the Dark Souls of shopping, like the final boss of transactional experiences. You go there aren't prices on anything, you just go inside and instantly start haggling. People are, swarming you have to do AoE attacks. It's like a super big deal, this Maasai market thing. They've been hyping it up since the first arc. And so the day comes where we're supposed to go. We're supposed to go to a mall where the market is. Then we're going to go to a tea farm. And then we're going to go back to the mall and, let the wolves loose. And so we go to the mall and the market isn't there. Market's not there. So we're like, cool. So we just go to the tea farm instead. I mean, just the whole context around the tea farm felt like something out of a fantasy novel. Old Victorian British lady, Lady Flora, living in these beautiful, misty, rolling hills of tea. And she has this groundskeeper, Javon, and he's got, this cane sword, and he's taking us out into the woods and telling us about all of these medicinal trees that they have on the property, and flowers and gardens, and so much just peace. It was probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Of course, they served us food there, and it was amazing. And the tea there was straight from the farms, or they were from the factories. Lady Flora gave us like a 40-minute history and science lesson on tea production and stuff, which was actually pretty cool. But you do have to consider that we'd just been on this super big adventure with like safaris and like changing people's hearts. You know what I mean? All of these attention grabbing things, and then we're all sitting in this big Victorian great room, and there's this this old lady, and she's telling us about how tea is made, and we're sitting there with our tea, and I was looking around, and like Bartimaeus and everybody who had been like super active throughout the week, making sure everything was sticking together and stuff like that, we're kind of like nodding off and everything. It was pretty funny. But all in all, the tea farm was an excellent experience. I loved it. I am always just have a soft spot for, randomly chill events where it's just like, again, we had the safari. We've been working with the kids every day with the kids. We have all this dancing. We have all this construction, all this high energy stuff all the time. The soccer match, the odds are stacked against us. And then the super calming tea farm. Right smack dab in the middle where we were supposed to have the final boss of shopping experiences. So that was fun. The next day, that Saturday, so we had all the kids come back and we just had a bunch of fun stations. We had a dance station. Of course, your boy was there. Of course, I did breakdancing. Of course, there were dance battles. And of course, I didn't show any mercy. But we had the dance station where I danced for 3 hours, which was pretty fun. Duck station where you throw rings at ducks and catch a duck. There was a fishing station where, you get the little fish on the magnet, the face paint, arts and crafts. It was just a fun time. It had rained Yeah, that was a bummer because we would have had a bounce house and the kids would have went ballistic for that. But you know, with what we had, it was still pretty fun. For some reason, Pastor Tyson was in there with us. It was me, it was Pastor Tyson, Laura, Audrey, and Cassandra, but with a K? I don't know. All of us were in there, we were dancing, we were having a good time. It was exciting, it was fun. And I think the kids enjoyed the carnival too. And then I got home and immediately passed out. That day was, I felt great because I was able to dance for 3 hours straight, and then after that I crashed, like anybody would. Sunday, after a really cool sermon given by Socrates, we left and we went to the final boss market. And it was pretty cool. Definitely a final boss. It was cool because the first vendor I went to, I actually know her name. I'm going to make a Bible joke. Tabitha, you know, Tabitha was like, yo, where are you from? I'm like, U.S. She's like, how long have you been in the U.S.? I'm like, well, 20 plus years, all my life. She's like, well, where were you born? I'm like, the U.S. She's like, oh, that's dope. And then she proceeded to give me a tutorial on how to haggle, which was really neat. She was like, hey, I'm going to start you off at a ridiculously high price. Don't get offended. That's how we do things here. If that's not the price you like, you can tell me a lower price. I'm probably not going to go with that, and we're going to meet a middle. And I'm like, yeah, that's dope. Let's do it. And then she was like, okay, I'll sell you these two things that you want to get for 15,100 shillings. I'm like, ha, that's half the money that I brought here. So no. So we haggled, and I was with my boy Christopher for most of that day. It was really cool bonding with him and hanging out and seeing all the others kind of squirm under the pressure of the hagglers. At first it was really stressful because, you know, you don't want to say no to these people. You've been in Kenya for a while. You can kind of see the living conditions and sort of the things that these people have to put up with. And so wherever you go, people need the money more than you do pretty much. So it's kind of hard saying no and like saying lower price and all that kind of stuff. But then at the same time, you know, they know you're MZUNGUs, and so they're going to upcharge you. And so it's fine to haggle. And at the end, it got kind of fun and kind of funny. You know, they tried to, there was this one place I went where they had this woman who they said was like the person who made all the fabrics, and her name was Mama. It's like, hey, look, you know, Mama made this. You don't want to make Mama sad. And then Mama came in, and she was a very stern-looking older woman who was kind of trying not to laugh the whole time, and they were like, oh, Mama's here, and I'm like, it's Mama. And that was pretty fun. We ended up all laughing about the whole thing. It was a great time. The haggling was pretty fun. And that day at the mall was pretty fun, with some delicious food as always. Construction crew finished up that last bit of projects they had, because, I mean, I could make a whole nother video on the construction process that happened here. We were drilling into steel beams. We were daisy chaining like so many surge protectors. It was, OSHA would have had a heart attack. And there was one time where we blew the power and the dude was just hand sawing like a beast the whole time. It was actually one of my roommates. Construction was a lot of stuff happened, but they finished the construction. We handed out clothes. I realized that two things. One, I thrifted all the clothes that I brought to Kenya, so I was like, might as well just leave them here. Also, I didn't really have a choice because there was no more room in my suitcase because of all that haggling and all the stuff that I bought. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll just leave my clothes here. So we gave away all the clothes, played with the children one last time. We had to say goodbye to them, which was pretty tough. I had to say goodbye one last time, and I'll never forget it. We were on the bus, and they were all hanging out of the windows and waving at us, and it was really neat. You know, at the beginning of the week, they don't know who you are. The little kids are really happy to see you, but the high schoolers are a little shy, a little wary, and going throughout the week, getting close to them, and then by the end, they're saying your name, and they're happy to see you, and joking and laughing and giggling. Sad to see you go. My crew that I've been working with, that Carter and I had been working with, were yelling something out of the window, and I was like, what are they saying? And I had to, like, what? And they were yelling, bring your wife. Earlier, they were asking questions about America, and it devolved into, do you have a girlfriend questions? And I'm like, I'm desperately, painfully single, that sort of thing. And that concept was like, what? Impossible. You're 23 and you don't have a girlfriend? The marrying age in Kenya is 18. And so they were like, okay, next time you come, make sure to bring a wife, all right? And I'm like, that's a lot harder of a thing to do than you guys think, but all right, I'll give it my best shot. And that's one of the last things my crew said to me before I left for America, to possibly never see them again, was bring your wife next time. So that was really funny and heartwarming that they were, were vying for your boy. And I mean, hey, things were looking pretty good, Remember, back in the safari, the ladies were hollering at your boy. Your boy missed it. But, hey, who knows? Maybe next time I'm probably going to go back to Kenya sometime. Unless something tragic happens, I should probably go back sometime. So who knows? Maybe when I return, I might have got a little shawty or something with me. Why am I doing this every time? But yeah, that was a fun thing. Bartimaeus gave us one last speech, solidifying us as helpers and workers in Christ, and I almost cried there too. But that was really sweet. And then we went home, packed up our things, had one last dinner, and then went to the airport to fly back. And that's the end of that arc, and also the end of my trip to Kenya. During the soccer match, your boy was winded. It was awful. But then when I was dancing for 3 hours, I was doing just fine. So why is that? I guess that was my biggest question. I don't know the answer. I don't think the U.S. has, the geoforms, the geography and the topography that Kenya has. Kenya, throughout the whole thing, we went to savannas and stuff. We went to the Great Rift Valley, which was this huge valley on top of this steep forested mountain. And then we were at the tea farms. There were these literally rolling hills that were the folklore behind it was God got mad and put his fist in the ground, and that was his fist print. And it looked like the just giant, almost some sort of it almost looked Photoshop, just rolling hills and all these majestic sights. And I know the US is a beautiful country too. There are some places that are just absolutely gorgeous. But I mean, I think there are also places in Kenya that are just mind-blowingly beautiful. I'd say that despite anything, the Lord can use you for good. You can be used for good and to bring light to a space. We didn't share the same mother tongue, any of us there, but we were able to connect, we were able to laugh, we were able to have fun, we were able to talk about God and understand him more. And it was borderless. To serve a Lord that is without limits to power and without limits to borders is great. Speaking of without limits to power, I started the story and I didn't finish it. Remember when I said Pastor Tyson got 0 hours of sleep that one time? Yeah, by the end of that day, he was juiced. My man was on cloud 9. I mean, hey, we prayed for him, so who knows? I like to think that that's what helped. That's just a really encouraging thing for me moving forward. So yeah, that was my time in Kenya. Saying it verbatim here without editing, it's an absolute jumbled mess. So hopefully it's edited a little better. Hopefully you enjoyed some of the pictures, some of the music, some of the jokes. And if you're ever wondering whether or not you should go to Africa, or if you're Christian and you want to know whether or not you should go on a missions trip, I'd say give it a shot. See what the world has in store. See what the Lord has in store. Pray about it if you're Christian and give it a shot. This was definitely life-changing. And not only did it teach me things about God and how he works, but it also showed me a region of the world that I've never seen before. It reminded me that I have a heritage. What is it? A lineage or something? Genealogy? I have one of those too, even though I don't know my ancestors, even though, the records get a little muddy, I have a place where I come from. I have a people too, and I think that's really neat. So yeah, thanks for listening in, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to these 3 arcs, this 3-part series. I just wanted to share this stuff with you because I thought it was really neat. It was life-changing for me, and I really had a blast, and I can't wait to go back to Kenya and try to make another impact. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you all next time.